Hey warriors, what if I told you that in just one night, tonight, you could unlock the same ancient wisdom that transformed emperors, freed slaves from mental chains, and gave Holocaust survivors the strength to endure humanity's darkest hour? The secrets I'm about to share with you have been tested for over 2,000 years. They helped Marcus Aurelius command an empire while maintaining inner peace. They lifted Epictetus from physical slavery to spiritual freedom. They gave Viktor Frankl the psychological tools to survive the unimaginable and emerge stronger. The truth most people don't want to hear: just one night can revolutionize your entire existence. Not because the world magically changes around you, but because you decide to see it through completely different eyes. One night of brutal honesty with yourself, one night of deep reflection, one night of confronting the person in the mirror. That's all it takes to unlock a door that's been waiting for you your entire life. Marcus Aurelius wrote these powerful words: "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." How many of us are guilty of this? How many of us are sleepwalking through life, waiting for the perfect moment to finally start living? We tell ourselves we have endless time. We postpone the changes we know we desperately need. We live in the illusion that tomorrow will somehow be different from today without us doing anything differently. But what if tonight was different? What if tonight you refused to let another precious day slip through your fingers? What if tonight you looked your excuses in the eye, faced down your fears, pushed aside every distraction, and asked yourself this life-changing question: what am I actually doing with the one irreplaceable life I've been given? That single moment of crystal-clear awareness could become the turning point you'll remember for the rest of your life. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share 9 profound truths with you. These aren't feel-good platitudes or motivational fluff. These are battle-tested principles that will create such a solid foundation in your mind that when you wake up tomorrow morning, you'll literally be a different person. Not because you've learned something brand new, but because you've remembered something eternal, something that was always true about who you are at your core, just waiting to be awakened. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. Tonight you discover that transformative way of thinking. Tonight you reclaim your personal power. Tonight, you become truly unstoppable. Before we dive deep into these life-changing truths, I need you to do something for me. Don't skip a single second of this video. Every principle we explore together could be the exact catalyst your life is crying out for right now. If this message is already resonating with your soul, show me by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're ready to keep growing, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Your transformation begins the moment you choose to listen with your whole heart. Here's what I want you to do right now. Drop this powerful affirmation in the comments section. Tonight, I begin to transform my life. Say it out loud as you type it. Feel those words in your chest, because this isn't just a video you're watching. This is the night everything changes. Let's begin. Number 1. True control begins where blame ends. Most people have it completely backwards. They think control means getting others to change, getting life to be fair, or getting the world to bend to their will. But here's what the ancient Stoics discovered over 2,000 years ago, and what modern psychology confirms today. True control begins the exact moment blame ends. Think about your own life right now. How much mental energy are you burning on thoughts like these? I would be happier if my family understood me better. I would be more successful if my boss wasn't holding me back. I would be in a better relationship if people weren't so selfish. I would be further ahead if life hadn't dealt me such a bad hand. Sound familiar? Every single time you blame someone or something else, you're literally handing your power away. You're saying, my happiness, my success, my peace, it's all in someone else's hands. Epictetus said, people are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. The problem is almost never the actual event. It's your reaction to it. It's the story you tell yourself about what it means. When you blame others, you trap yourself in invisible chains. You're essentially telling yourself, I can't be free, happy, or at peace until they change, until they apologize, until they fix what they broke. But Stoicism teaches, and what neuroscience now proves, freedom comes when you stop waiting for the world to change and start changing how you respond to it. You cannot control what others do to you. You cannot control what happened in your past. You cannot control whether life is fair. But you can always control one thing, your response. And that response is where all your real power lives. This isn't easy. It takes tremendous courage to look at your life and say, yes, terrible things happened to me. Yes, people hurt me. Yes, life knocked me down. But I will not let any of that define my future. I am still responsible for my next move. That shift in thinking, that one decision to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the author of your response, that's where real transformation begins. The night you stop blaming your parents for how they raised you, the night you stop blaming your ex for breaking your heart, the night you stop blaming society, your boss, or bad luck, that's the night you reclaim yourself. Here's why blame is so addictive. It feels comforting because it removes responsibility from your shoulders. It's easier to say it's their fault than what can I do differently. But comfort is a trap. Growth begins with accountability. The moment you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can I do now? You cross the bridge from victim to warrior. Think about all those nights you've wasted replaying old stories in your mind, rehearsing conversations that will never happen, imagining scenarios where you get the apology you deserve. How much energy have you burned on things completely outside your control tonight? Imagine what would happen if you stopped replaying those stories and said, I cannot change what has been done to me, but I will never again let it control me. That's how you break free. That's how you reclaim your power. True control doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. It means that no matter what storm hits, you know the steering wheel is in your hands. People will still betray you. Circumstances will still test you. Life will still throw curveballs, but blame will never fix any of it. Ownership will. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Apply that standard to blame. If blaming someone doesn't move you forward, why keep feeding it energy? If pointing fingers doesn't solve your problems, why keep doing it? Tonight you can decide to rise above it. Tonight you can choose ownership over excuses. And when you make that choice, something incredible happens. Your entire energy shifts. Instead of being drained by resentment, you become fueled by resolve. Instead of waiting for others to change so you can be happy, you change yourself. Instead of being at the mercy of circumstances, you become the master of your response. That shift, though invisible to the world, is the birth of true power. It's the moment you stop being a leaf blown by every wind and become the tree that bends but never breaks. Stop blaming. Stop pointing fingers. Stop saying if only. Look in the mirror tonight and say these words. I am responsible for my growth. I am responsible for my peace. I am responsible for my future. That one decision, that one shift in thinking, will make you absolutely unshakable. If this truth hit you where you needed it most, drop this powerful affirmation in the comments. I choose ownership, not blame. Say it as you type it because tonight you take back control. Number 2, peace doesn't come from escape, it comes from endurance. Right now, as you're watching this, millions of people are doing exactly what society taught them to do when life gets hard. They're running to Netflix to binge away their problems, running to social media to numb their minds, running to alcohol, to shopping, to anything that promises temporary relief from reality. But the ancient Stoics discovered, and what modern psychology confirms, you cannot run your way to peace. We live in the world's first civilization specifically designed around escape. Don't like how you feel? Here's a pill. Feeling anxious? Here's an app. Heartbroken? Here's a dating site. Stressed about work? Here's endless entertainment to distract you. But ask yourself this question. After all that escaping, all that numbing, all that running, are you more peaceful now than you were a year ago? The truth is that every time you choose escape over endurance, you're not solving your problems. You're making them stronger. You're not finding peace. You're postponing it. And that postponement is costing you everything. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Think about that. Every diamond was once just carbon under pressure. Every sword was once metal in fire. Every champion was once a beginner who refused to quit when things got difficult. You cannot refine your spirit by constantly seeking comfort. You cannot discover your true strength by avoiding every storm that life sends your way. The paradox our culture refuses to teach us. Peace is not found by escaping difficulty. It's forged in the fire of enduring it. Most people never realize. When you run from pain, you only stretch the distance between yourself and healing. It's like having a broken bone and refusing to let the doctor set it. The longer you avoid the temporary discomfort of treatment, the longer you'll suffer with permanent damage. But when you endure, when you face what hurts with courage instead of cowardice, something incredible happens. The pain loses its power over you. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't see suffering as something to be feared. They saw it as the greatest teacher you'll ever have. Every difficulty is a lesson written in fire, and only those who have the courage to endure can read its wisdom. But listen carefully. Endurance is not about becoming a doormat. It's not about passively accepting abuse or unfairness. True endurance is about responding with strength rather than fear. It's about looking at your challenges and saying, "Whoa, yes, this is heavy, but I am stronger than I realize. Yes, this is painful, but I will not bow down to it. Yes, this is difficult, but difficulty is where I discover who I really am." In that moment when you stop running and start standing, peace enters your life. Not because the storm has passed, but because you stopped being afraid of getting wet. Picture this. Two people face the exact same devastating heartbreak. Person number one immediately runs to distractions. They binge watch shows, scroll social media for hours, maybe drink a little too much, jump into rebound relationships, anything to avoid feeling the pain. Person number two does something different. They sit with the pain. They let themselves feel it fully. They ask themselves, what is this trying to teach me? How can I grow from this? What strength am I discovering that I didn't know I had? Fast forward 1 year. Person number one is still running, still avoiding, still trapped in the same cycles of escape. But person number two, they've emerged free, stronger, more peaceful than they ever were before the heartbreak happened. That's the difference between escape and endurance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment." Read that again. The pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Endurance is the act of revoking fear's power over your mind. It's the moment you realize that external events don't have to dictate your internal state. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are the master of your response to them. I want you to be brutally honest with yourself right now. How many times this week did you choose escape over endurance? How many times did you reach for your phone instead of sitting with discomfort? How many times did you choose distraction instead of facing what was really bothering you? Tonight can be the night you change that pattern forever. Instead of running, you can learn to sit still. Instead of escaping, you can choose to embrace. Instead of drowning in avoidance, you can breathe through the difficulty and trust that you will not break. What nobody tells you about endurance, the very thing you think will destroy you, is often the thing that will transform you if you have the courage to face it. That wound you're carrying, it may become the place where the light enters your life. That difficulty you're avoiding, it may become the foundation of your greatest strength. That pain you're running from, it may be the teacher you've been looking for all along. Endurance is not punishment. Endurance is preparation. Preparation for the person you're meant to become. So tonight, when your mind whispers, run, escape, numb the pain, I want you to whisper back, I will not escape. I will endure. I will find peace not by avoiding the storm, but by walking through it with my head held high. And when you make that choice, when you choose courage over comfort, you'll discover something that will shock you. The storm doesn't feel as frightening anymore. You'll realize you had the strength all along. You just needed to stop running long enough to see it. If this truth is exactly what your soul needed to hear tonight, drop this powerful declaration in the comments. Say it as you type it. I will endure, not escape. Number 3. Discomfort is a signal, not a stop sign. Right now, I guarantee you're avoiding something. Something that makes your stomach tighten, your palms sweat, your mind whisper, maybe later. something that feels uncomfortable. And here's what 99% of people do. They mistake that discomfort as a warning to stop. They interpret that feeling as their body saying, "Danger, turn back, this isn't for you." But what if I told you that discomfort isn't a stop sign at all? What if it's actually the most important signal your life can give you? We've been programmed completely backwards. The moment most people feel fear, pressure, or resistance, they retreat like soldiers hearing retreat horns. They think discomfort means they're going the wrong direction. They believe their anxiety is protecting them from making a mistake. But discomfort is not a warning to stop. It's a signal that you're stepping outside your old limits and into the sacred space where all growth happens. Think about every significant moment in your life. Your first day at a new job, asking someone you liked on a date, moving to a new city, starting a business, having a difficult conversation that needed to happen. What did they all have in common? They all felt uncomfortable as hell. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." Let that penetrate your mind. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's a mirror. It reflects your current limits, your hidden fears, your untested strength. And instead of running from that reflection, you should study it intensely. Because here's what most people never realize. Only when you see your limits clearly can you begin to push beyond them. You cannot grow beyond what you're unwilling to face. You cannot become stronger without resistance. You cannot discover your true capabilities while staying in your comfort zone. Think about how muscles actually grow. Do they get stronger by staying comfortable? By never experiencing resistance? By avoiding any strain or pressure? Absolutely not. Muscles grow by being torn down through resistance and rebuilding stronger than before. The burn you feel during exercise isn't damage. It's growth happening in real time. Your character works the exact same way. The strongest minds are forged in struggle. The deepest wisdom is earned through pain. The most resilient spirits are born in the fires of discomfort. If you want to grow as a human being, you must make peace with discomfort. Not as something to avoid, but as something to lean into with courage. Everything is designed to maximize your comfort. Easy food delivered to your door, endless entertainment at your fingertips, social media algorithms that show you exactly what you want to see, dating apps that eliminate the discomfort of approaching someone in person. But comfort is the most dangerous drug you can take. It feels safe, but it keeps you small. It feels protective, but it's actually imprisoning you in mediocrity. Discomfort feels threatening, but it's where your strength is forged. Every great achievement in human history was born in discomfort. Every powerful transformation begins exactly where comfort ends. You cannot become extraordinary while demanding an ordinary level of comfort. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the secret the Stoics lived by. The very thing that makes you uncomfortable is the exact path you must take. If something scares you, it means it matters to your growth. If something challenges you, it means you're standing on the edge of becoming someone new. If something feels impossible, it means you're about to discover capabilities you didn't know you had. The obstacle is the way forward, but most people sabotage their own transformation. They turn back too soon. They feel the discomfort and assume it means they're going the wrong direction. They interpret their fear as wisdom, their anxiety as intuition telling them to stop. But in reality, discomfort is confirmation that you're exactly where you need to be. It's proof that you're alive, awake, and moving toward the person you're meant to become. Stopping when you feel discomfort is like turning around 1 mile before reaching the summit of a mountain you've been climbing for hours. The breakthrough you're seeking is often just on the other side of the breakdown you're avoiding. I need you to be brutally honest with yourself right now. What discomfort have you been avoiding? Is it that difficult conversation you need to have with someone you love? Is it starting that business you've been dreaming about for years? Is it going to the gym when you're out of shape? Is it learning a new skill that makes you feel like a beginner again? Is it setting boundaries with people who drain your energy? Is it ending a relationship that's no longer serving you? Is it applying for that job you don't feel qualified for yet? If it makes you uncomfortable, it's not a coincidence. It's a signal that this is exactly where your growth is waiting for you. Discomfort will always be there. But once you learn to interpret it correctly as a guide instead of a wall, your entire life transforms. The fear becomes excitement. The pressure becomes fuel. The anxiety becomes anticipation. The resistance becomes your roadmap to becoming unstoppable. Tonight you can flip the entire meaning of discomfort in your mind, from something to fear into something to follow, from a stop sign into a green light. So the next time you feel that familiar tightness in your chest, that voice in your head saying this is too hard, that urge to retreat to safety, I want you to pause and whisper these words to yourself. This is not a stop sign. This is a signal. This discomfort is showing me exactly where I need to go. And then keep moving forward. Because just on the other side of that discomfort is the version of yourself you've been searching for. Just beyond that fear is the life you've been dreaming about. Just past that resistance is the breakthrough that will change everything. If this truth just gave you the permission you needed to finally face what you've been avoiding, drop this powerful declaration in the comments. Say it out loud as you type it. Discomfort is my signal for growth. Number 4, saying less is a sign of inner strength. Right now, at this very moment, millions of people are typing angry comments, having pointless arguments, desperately trying to get the last word in conversations that will be forgotten tomorrow. They think volume equals power. They believe the loudest voice wins. They're convinced that constantly defending, explaining, and proving themselves is a sign of strength. They couldn't be more wrong. We live in the loudest civilization in human history. Social media has trained us to believe that every thought deserves to be shared. Every opinion needs defending. Every slight requires a response. We've been programmed to think that silence means weakness, that not responding means you've lost. The ancient Stoics discovered, and what the most powerful people in the world understand in a noisy world, silence is the ultimate power move. True strength doesn't come from how loudly you can speak. It comes from the self-discipline to remain silent when silence carries more weight than 1,000 words ever could. Epictetus said something profound. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. But this isn't just about being a good listener. This is about understanding that silence is a form of mastery. It's the ability to let your actions speak so loudly that you never need to argue, defend, or explain yourself to anyone. When you master the art of saying less, you discover something incredible. You stop wasting precious energy trying to convince people who have already decided not to understand you. Think about it. How much mental energy have you burned this week trying to prove points to people who weren't really listening? How much emotional fuel have you wasted on arguments that went nowhere? Every word you don't need to speak is energy you can invest in becoming better. Every argument you choose not to engage in is peace you get to keep. Every time you resist the urge to defend yourself unnecessarily, you grow stronger. When you say less, you conserve energy. You stop pouring gasoline on fires that weren't worth lighting in the first place. You begin to see that silence isn't empty. It's full of strength, awareness, and unshakable control. I want you to think about the last time you held back when you wanted to lash out at someone. That was strength. The last time you walked away from a toxic argument instead of trying to win it, that was wisdom. The last time you chose quiet composure over unnecessary noise, you grew in power, even if nobody else noticed. Most people don't understand. People who always need the last word are not strong. They're deeply insecure. People who constantly explain themselves are not in control. They're terrified of being misunderstood. But the person who remains calm, who lets their silence carry the weight of truth, that person commands respect without ever demanding it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are silent, be silent as one who has the strength to speak but refrains." Read that again. This is the mark of true self-mastery. You could speak, you could fight back, you could argue and defend and prove your point, but you choose not to. That choice doesn't come from weakness. It comes from a place of absolute control. It's the difference between a master and an amateur. Amateurs react to everything. Masters respond to what deserves their energy. Here's something our culture never taught you. Silence protects your peace. Words once spoken can never be taken back. They can create wounds deeper than any physical weapon. They can burn bridges you might need to cross later. They can start wars in relationships that could have remained at peace. But silence allows you to guard your energy and avoid unnecessary battles. Not every opinion deserves your response. Not every insult deserves your time. Not every challenge is worthy of your effort. Not every provocation deserves your reaction. Silence teaches you to distinguish between what requires your energy and what's trying to steal it. And here's the beautiful secret. In your silence, something magical happens. You begin to listen more deeply. You start seeing people for who they truly are instead of just hearing what they're saying. You notice the small truths hidden between their words. You connect to wisdom that can only be heard in stillness. Silent people learn secrets that loud people never discover. They see patterns that talkers miss. They understand dynamics that arguers never grasp. While others are busy talking, you're busy learning. While they're busy defending, you're busy growing. While they're busy proving, you're busy becoming. So, the next time someone tries to bait you into an argument, remember you don't have to take the bait. The next time you feel the urge to defend yourself against someone who's already made up their mind, pause and ask, is this worth my energy? The next time you want to get the last word, remind yourself the last word belongs to the person who walks away from unnecessary noise. Silence is not surrender. It's strategy. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's not giving up. It's powering up. Tonight, when you feel that familiar urge to argue, defend, or over-explain, I want you to do something revolutionary. Pause. Breathe. Choose silence. Remember that silence is not a cage that traps you. It's a shield that protects you. It's not a sign that you've lost. It's proof that you've won the only battle that really matters, the battle for self-control. Your silence sends a message louder than any words ever could. I am so secure in who I am that I don't need to prove it to anyone. If this truth just gave you permission to stop engaging in every battle that comes your way and drop this powerful declaration in the comments, say it quietly as you type it. My silence is my strength. Number 5, you don't need motivation, you need discipline. Right now, millions of people are searching for the same thing: how to stay motivated. They're consuming motivational videos, reading inspiring quotes, attending seminars, desperately chasing that feeling that will finally make them take action. But the truth they don't want to hear: you're chasing the wrong thing entirely. The most successful people in the world have a secret, and it's not what you think. They're not more motivated than you. They're not naturally more driven. They've simply learned to operate without motivation altogether. Let me ask you something. How did that last burst of motivation work out for you? You know the one I'm talking about. Maybe it was a YouTube video that fired you up. Maybe it was a book that inspired you. Maybe it was seeing someone else's success story that made you think that could be me. You felt unstoppable for what? A day, a week, maybe even a month. And then what happened? Life got hard. You got tired. The feeling faded. And you quit. What nobody tells you about motivation, it's designed to fail you. Motivation is like a sugar rush. It gives you a quick spike of energy followed by an inevitable crash. If you're building your dreams on motivation, you're building on quicksand. Motivation is exactly like the weather. It changes daily. Some mornings you wake up ready to conquer the world. Your energy is high. Your vision is clear. Your determination is unshakable. Other mornings you wake up with no drive, no inspiration, and no desire to do anything productive. If you only take action when you feel motivated, you're essentially saying, I'll only work toward my goals when the weather is perfect. But champions don't wait for perfect weather. Athletes don't train only when they feel like it. Writers don't sit down to write only when inspiration strikes. They show up because discipline demands it, not because motivation suggests it. Seneca wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." But here's the key. Preparation doesn't come from waiting to feel motivated. Preparation comes from disciplined action repeated day after day, week after week, month after month, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline builds the foundation where motivation cannot reach. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline will get you finished. While motivation is asking, do I feel like it today? Component placement. Discipline is saying, "This is what must be done, and I will do it." Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself in his private journal, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?" This is the spirit of discipline. You rise not because you feel like it, but because life demands your effort. You act not because you're motivated, but because you're committed. You persist, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Here's something that will blow your mind. Discipline actually frees you in a way motivation never can. When you're disciplined, you no longer have to negotiate with yourself every morning. You don't waste mental energy asking, should I work out today? Or do I feel like writing today? Or am I motivated enough to make that difficult phone call? The decision has already been made. You simply act. And in that action, in that commitment to consistency, regardless of how you feel, you build unstoppable momentum. Each small act of discipline compounds into results that motivation alone could never deliver. Each day you show up when you don't want to, you're depositing strength into your character that will pay dividends for the rest of your life. Want to know the secret that successful people don't want you to discover? Discipline eventually creates motivation. The more consistent you are, the more progress you see. Progress feels good. Success breeds confidence, and confidence naturally fuels motivation. But it works in that exact order, never the reverse. If you sit around waiting for motivation to show up before you take action, you will be waiting forever. Motivation is not the starting point. It's the byproduct of disciplined action. Have you ever noticed that once you actually start doing something you've been avoiding, you often find the energy to continue? That's discipline creating motivation in real time. I need you to ask yourself this life-changing question. What do I need more? Another burst of motivation that will fade in 3 days, or a steady commitment to discipline that will compound over years? The answer should be obvious, but most people keep choosing the sugar rush over the slow burn. They keep chasing feelings instead of building systems. Here's the difference. Motivation whispers, discipline builds. Motivation excites, discipline transforms. Motivation fades, discipline lasts. So instead of asking yourself, how do I stay motivated? Start asking, how do I stay disciplined? Build systems that don't depend on how you feel. Set standards that you meet regardless of your mood. Commit to small actions every single day that move you toward your goals. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for the perfect energy level. Stop waiting for the perfect inspiration. Perfect is the enemy of progress. Disciplined is the creator of transformation. At the end of your life, when you look back on everything you've accomplished, it won't be the moments of motivation you remember. Those fleeting feelings of inspiration will be forgotten. What you'll remember, what you'll be proud of, is the discipline that shaped the person you became. The days you showed up when you didn't want to. The times you did the work when nobody was watching. The consistency that turned dreams into reality. If this truth just gave you permission to stop chasing motivation and start building discipline, prove it by drop this powerful declaration in the comments. Make it your new identity. Discipline is my freedom. Number 6. Detachment is the highest form of self-respect. Most people think self-respect comes from achievement, from proving themselves, from getting recognition, accumulating possessions, or being validated by others. But what if I told you that everything you think you know about self-respect is backwards? What if the highest form of self-respect isn't about gaining more but about needing less? What if true self-respect comes not from attachment, but from the profound strength of detachment? We live in a culture that worships attachment. We're taught to fight for every relationship, even the toxic ones. To hold on to every opportunity, even the ones that drain us. To cling to possessions, status symbols, and achievements, as if they define our worth. But here's what nobody tells you. Every time you cling to something that doesn't serve you, every time you stay in situations that diminish you, you're not showing loyalty. You're showing a lack of self-respect. Real self-respect is quieter than what our culture celebrates. It's deeper than what social media rewards, and it's far more powerful than what most people will ever understand. Real self-respect comes from detachment, the inner strength to walk away from anything that no longer serves your highest good. The ancient Stoics practiced detachment not out of coldness but out of profound strength. They understood something that modern psychology is just beginning to rediscover. Epictetus wrote, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Detachment means refusing to be enslaved by things that break, by people who drain your spirit, by situations that slowly kill your joy, by opinions that make you question your worth. It's the ultimate freedom to say, "I don't need this to define me. I am enough without it. I am complete exactly as I am." When you are attached, truly attached, you become a prisoner. You cling to relationships that hurt you more than heal you. You cling to jobs that drain your soul for paychecks that barely pay your bills. You cling to opinions about yourself that were never true to begin with. You stay out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of being misunderstood, fear of discovering who you are when everything familiar is stripped away. But detachment breaks those invisible chains. It teaches you the most liberating truth you'll ever learn. You are whole even if everything around you falls apart. Your worth is not determined by what you hold on to. It's revealed by what you're strong enough to release. Now let me be crystal clear about something. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. This isn't about becoming cold, emotionless, or indifferent to the world around you. That's not strength. That's numbness. Detachment means you stop depending. There's a massive difference. You love, but you don't cling. You give generously, but you don't lose yourself in the giving. You show up fully for people and situations, but you remain internally free. This is why detachment is the highest form of self-respect. It says, "I value myself enough to never let anything or anyone own my peace, my worth, or my identity." Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't morbid thinking. This is clarity. Detachment is rooted in this profound awareness. Everything is temporary. Life is temporary. The possessions you're accumulating temporary. The status you're chasing temporary. Even the people around you, as much as you love them, your time with them is temporary. So why tie your entire sense of worth to things that can vanish tomorrow? Why give your peace to circumstances you cannot control? When you truly understand impermanence, attachment becomes impossible. And in that impossibility, you discover unshakable inner strength. Detachment brings razor-sharp clarity. It helps you see which relationships are genuine connections and which are emotional chains. It shows you where you've been hemorrhaging energy, giving too much of yourself to people and situations that give nothing back. It reveals the difference between love and dependency, between commitment and bondage, between caring and clinging. When you're attached, everything is filtered through need. I need them to like me. I need this job to define me. I need these possessions to feel successful. When you're detached, everything is filtered through choice. I choose to love freely. I choose to work with purpose. I choose what adds value to my life. The first is desperation. The second is power. Imagine this moment. Picture yourself standing in front of everything that once controlled you. Your fears, your insecurities, your desperate need for approval, your attachment to outcomes, your clinging to people who don't appreciate your presence. And imagine saying these words with complete conviction. You no longer own me. My peace is not for sale. My worth is not up for negotiation. I am free. That's the moment you step into true self-respect. Because the person who is free from needing external validation is the person who has discovered internal wealth that can never be stolen. So tonight, I need you to reflect honestly. Where have you been clinging? What are you holding on to that's breaking you instead of building you? Are you staying in relationships that drain you because you're afraid of being alone? Are you keeping jobs that kill your spirit because you're afraid of financial uncertainty? Are you holding on to grudges because you're afraid of letting people get away with hurting you? Can you love without needing to possess? Can you walk away from situations that don't serve you without losing your dignity? Can you let go? Not out of bitterness or resentment, but out of genuine strength and self-respect. If you can learn to detach with love instead of clinging with fear, you will discover a level of peace that no external attachment could ever provide. You'll stop needing others to change for you to be happy. You'll stop requiring perfect circumstances to feel content. You'll stop depending on outcomes to determine your worth. The moment you truly detach, you finally return to yourself. You remember who you were before the world taught you that your value depended on what you could accumulate, achieve, or control. If this truth is calling you to examine what you've been clinging to, drop this powerful declaration in the comments. Make it your new relationship with attachment. Detachment is my self-respect. Number 7. Your mind is a garden. Protect what you plant. Right now, as you're watching this, there's a garden growing inside your mind. And here's what 99% of people don't realize. Everything you feed it grows. Every thought you water takes root. Every idea you nurture becomes part of who you are. The tragedy is that most people have turned their mental gardens into wastelands, overgrown with negativity, choked by comparison, strangled by fear and self-doubt. But if you want to transform your life, you must become the fiercest guardian of what you plant in your mind. Your mind is the most sacred place you will ever own. It's more valuable than any property you could purchase, more precious than any possession you could accumulate. This isn't just motivational talk. This is neuroscience. This is psychology. This is the fundamental truth that separates those who thrive from those who merely survive. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Your inner world doesn't just influence your outer reality. It creates it. If your mental garden is filled with toxic thoughts, your life will reflect that toxicity. But if you deliberately cultivate your mind with wisdom, discipline, and peace, your life will flourish regardless of what storms hit." Here's something most people never consider. Every single day, seeds are being planted in your mind. What you watch on Netflix before bed, those are seeds. The podcast you listen to during your commute, seeds. The social media feeds you scroll through, seeds. The conversations you have with friends, family, co-workers, all seeds. The people you spend time with, their attitudes, their energy, their way of thinking. They're planting seeds in your mental garden every time you interact with them. Some of these seeds grow into unshakable strength, wisdom, and resilience. Others grow into anxiety, insecurity, and weakness. And here's the question that will change your life. What am I allowing to grow inside me? Most people never ask this question. They consume whatever's put in front of them, spend time with whoever's available, and wonder why they feel stuck, anxious, or unfulfilled. If you constantly consume negative news, your garden will bloom with anxiety and fear. If you surround yourself with complainers and critics, their voices will echo in your head long after they've left the room. If you let fear-based thinking dominate your mental space, it will choke out every seed of courage before it has a chance to sprout. If you feed your mind a steady diet of comparison through social media, envy and inadequacy will grow like weeds. But if you choose wisely, if you deliberately plant seeds of gratitude, wisdom, self-control, and resilience, your mental garden becomes an unshakable refuge. No matter what chaos surrounds you, think about the most peaceful, confident person you know. I guarantee you they're extremely selective about what they allow into their mental space. They've learned to be gardeners of their own minds. Epictetus taught his students, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." But here's what most people miss. This principle applies not just to people, but to everything you consume. Every book you read, every show you watch, every social media account you follow, every conversation you engage in, they're all gardeners working in your mental space. Some are planting flowers, others are scattering weed seeds. Guard your garden ruthlessly. Be incredibly selective about what you allow to enter your mental space, because once a thought pattern takes root, it will grow whether you want it to or not. But protecting your mind isn't just about planting good seeds. It's about pulling out weeds quickly. This is where most people fail. They plant some positive thoughts, read a few inspiring quotes, but they never do the hard work of removing the toxic patterns that are already established. Don't let bitterness take root and spread throughout your thinking. Don't allow envy to multiply in the dark corners of your mind. Don't give fear the space to establish a stronghold in your mental territory. When you notice harmful thought patterns starting to grow, and you will notice them if you're paying attention, uproot them immediately and replace them with stronger, healthier thoughts. Your mind, like any garden, requires daily maintenance. You can't plant good seeds once and expect a lifetime of healthy growth. And here's something crucial to understand. Gardens grow slowly. You won't plant a seed of confidence today and wake up fearless tomorrow. You won't read one inspiring book and permanently transform your mindset. You won't have one meaningful conversation and suddenly become wise. But here's the promise that will keep you going. Every single day you choose to plant better seeds in your mind, your inner world grows stronger, calmer, and more beautiful. That inner strength doesn't stay hidden. It eventually reflects in every aspect of your outer life. Your relationships, your career, your health, your happiness, your resilience in the face of challenges. So tonight, I need you to get brutally honest with yourself. Look at your life right now and ask, what seeds have I been planting in my mind? Look at what you've been watching, reading, listening to. Look at the people you've been spending time with. Look at the conversations you've been having, the thoughts you've been entertaining. If the mental garden you've been cultivating doesn't align with the life you want to live, it's time to change. Not tomorrow, not next week, tonight. From this moment forward, you are the guardian of your mental garden. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Nourish it with wisdom, with truth, with discipline. Be ruthless about removing anything that doesn't serve your growth. Choose your inputs like you're choosing medicine for your soul. Because in a very real sense, that's exactly what you're doing. Your future will always grow from the soil of your mind. The thoughts you plant today will determine the person you become tomorrow. If this truth just gave you permission to become the fierce guardian of your own mind, drop this powerful declaration in the comments. Make it your new identity as a mental gardener. I protect my mind. I plant strength. Number 8, you can't heal in the same environment that broke you. Right now, there are people desperately trying to heal from trauma, heartbreak, and life wounds, while staying in the exact same toxic environments that broke them in the first place. They think healing is just about time. They believe if they wait long enough, if they're patient enough, if they try hard enough, they'll magically become whole again. But here's the brutal truth that nobody wants to hear. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. Most people have healing completely backwards. They think healing is something that happens to them, rather than something they must create the conditions for. They're waiting for time to fix what only a change of environment can heal. Healing is not just about time. It's about environment. You cannot expect to recover, to grow, or to rebuild yourself if you remain in the very place that inflicted your wounds. Think about it in the most basic terms. If you plant a seed in poison soil, it doesn't matter how much time passes, how much water you give it, or how much sunlight it receives. That seed will never grow into the plant it was meant to become. The same is true for your healing. The same is true for your growth. The same is true for your transformation. Epictetus warned his students, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." You cannot expect to rise if you surround yourself with people who constantly pull you down. You cannot find inner peace if your daily environment is filled with chaos, negativity, and toxic reminders of everything that broke you. This isn't about being antisocial or cutting everyone off. This is about recognizing that your environment is either supporting your healing or sabotaging it. There's no neutral ground. I want you to think honestly about your own life. How many times have you tried to heal while staying stuck in the same destructive patterns? The same toxic relationships that drain your energy? The same routines that keep you small? The same physical spaces that trigger painful memories? You've been trying to stitch a wound while constantly tearing it open again. You've been attempting to build strength in the same place that systematically feeds your weakness. Maybe it's staying friends with people who remind you of your failures instead of celebrating your growth. Maybe it's living in a space that's cluttered with reminders of your past, instead of creating a sanctuary for your future. Maybe it's maintaining habits and routines that were formed during your darkest moments, instead of designing new patterns for your brightest days. Healing doesn't work when you're constantly re-exposing yourself to the source of your wounds. Now here's something crucial to understand. Leaving a toxic environment doesn't always mean physically moving to a new city or state. Sometimes it means creating new boundaries within your current situation. It means refusing to let the same voices, the same habits, and the same negative influences control your healing journey. It means making choices that protect your progress, even when others don't understand those choices. Maybe that's setting boundaries with family members who constantly bring up your past mistakes. Maybe it's unfollowing social media accounts that make you feel inadequate. Maybe it's changing your daily routine to avoid triggers that send you spiraling. Environment is about energy, not just geography. Marcus Aurelius wrote something in his private journal that reveals the deepest truth about healing. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. If your current environment constantly fills your mind with pain, distraction, or negative noise, you will remain trapped in mental cycles that keep you broken. Your external environment directly impacts your internal environment. If you're surrounded by chaos, your mind becomes chaotic. If you're surrounded by negativity, your thoughts become negative. If you're surrounded by people who don't believe in your growth, you'll start doubting your own transformation. But when you deliberately create an environment of growth, peaceful spaces, healthy relationships, disciplined routines, you give yourself the sacred space needed to heal and transform. Here's what our culture gets wrong about healing. Walking away is sometimes the most powerful form of self-care. It's not weakness. It's not running away from your problems. It's not giving up on people or situations. It's refusing to stay in a place that feeds your wounds instead of your strength. It's choosing your healing over other people's comfort. It's prioritizing your growth over maintaining toxic status quo. The day you choose to protect your healing is the day you finally honor your own worth. It's the day you say, I matter enough to create the conditions for my own transformation. Right now, I need you to do an honest environmental audit of your life. Look at your relationships. Are the people in your life celebrating your growth or sabotaging it? Do they lift you up or drain your energy? Do they remind you of who you're becoming or who you used to be? Look at your physical spaces. Does your home feel like a sanctuary for growth or a museum of past pain? Are you surrounded by things that inspire you or things that trigger you? Look at your routines. Are your daily habits designed to support healing or maintain old wounds? Are you doing things that move you forward or keep you stuck? Look at your inputs. What are you reading, watching, listening to? Is your mental diet feeding recovery or feeding old trauma patterns? So, tonight, ask yourself this life-changing question. Am I trying to heal in the same environment that broke me? Be brutally honest. Don't make excuses. Don't rationalize why you're staying in situations that hurt you. If the answer is yes, if you're trying to grow while staying rooted in toxic soil, it may be time to change. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's convenient for everyone else. Now, because healing doesn't happen by accident, it happens when you courageously give yourself the environment and the space to grow into who you're meant to become. Creating a healing environment means surrounding yourself with people who see your potential, not just your past. Designing spaces that feel peaceful and inspiring rather than chaotic and triggering. Establishing routines that support your new identity instead of reinforcing old patterns. Consuming content that feeds your growth rather than your wounds. Number 9. Every moment is a choice between power or pain. Our final truth is going to reveal the most important choice you'll ever make over and over again. Every single moment of your life offers you two paths, power or pain. Not physical pain, but the unnecessary suffering you create when you let emotions, impulses, and external chaos control you. Most people don't even realize they're making this choice, but you're about to become one of the few who does. The Stoics believed that while you cannot always control what happens to you, you can always control how you respond. That response is your choice, power or pain. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that changes everything. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When someone insults you, you always have two choices. You can choose pain, react with anger, hold resentment, and replay their words over and over in your mind. Or you can choose power, stay silent, show restraint, and protect your inner peace that no one can touch. The same is true when life throws difficulties your way. You can choose pain, complain, feel sorry for yourself, and blame others for what's happening. Or, you can choose power. Accept the challenge, face it with courage, and endure with strength. Most people live on autopilot, reacting without awareness. They give their power away to every person, every situation, every circumstance that triggers them. But awareness is where transformation begins. The moment you pause and ask yourself, will I choose power or pain in this moment? You reclaim control over your entire life. Think about it. Every time you reacted with anger and later regretted it, that was pain. Every time you held your ground, stayed calm, and protected your peace, that was power. The difference is always in the choice you made. The Stoics didn't deny emotions. They understood that emotions are natural, but they taught something revolutionary. Emotions must not be your master. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every reaction is a chance to turn pain into power. Every challenge is a test of your discipline. Every insult is an opportunity to rise above. You cannot avoid difficulty, but you can choose how to meet it. And in that choice, you either weaken yourself with unnecessary pain or strengthen yourself with timeless power. So tonight and every moment going forward, remind yourself every moment is a choice. Don't give your peace away cheaply. Don't let small things own your mind. Choose power, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to live with strength and dignity. One night is all it takes. One night of honesty, one night of courage, one night where you decide to stop living on autopilot and start living with awareness. The Stoics remind us that transformation is not a distant goal. It begins the moment you choose it. Tonight could be that moment for you. We began with the truth that control begins when blame ends, that peace is not found in escape, but in endurance, that discomfort is not your enemy but your signal for growth. We saw that silence carries strength, that discipline outlasts motivation, that detachment honors your worth. We understood that your mind is a garden, your environment shapes your healing, and every moment you live is a choice between power or pain. This is not abstract wisdom. This is life itself. And tonight you hold the key to change, not by waiting for the perfect moment, but by making tonight the beginning of your transformation. Remember, one night can make you unrecognizable, not to the world first, but to yourself. So I leave you with this. Stop waiting. Begin now. Choose strength over weakness. Choose awareness over distraction. Choose power over pain. Let tonight be the night you'll never forget. The night you chose to truly live. If this message touched you, don't let it stay with just you. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, subscribe to the channel, and drop your affirmation in the comments. Your journey begins the moment you choose to take it seriously. I want you to drop this final affirmation in the comments. Tonight, I begin my transformation.